male loneliness epidemic, but if you don't have an unreal body and a beautiful face without makeup, they don't want, like, this is exactly what I was just talking about, right?
I can change this up right now. Female loneliness. But if you're not over 6 foot tall and you make over 6 figures in a year, they don't want you. Do you hear how stupid you sound? Hi YouTube, welcome back in hell. My name is Cypress, and today we'll be watching a video by Misha Petrov. Why so many women are mocking men's mental health.
Make the rates higher.
I don't care. Men's mental health, I don't give a
It's officially men's mental health.
I don't care.
So June is Men's Mental Health Month, and I didn't even know about that until last year.
I actually only knew about that this year because I was scrolling on Twitter and then I saw a bunch of people saying, hey, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was in June. This is like my first time ever hearing that.
Evidently, I was not the only one. It's not exactly promoted with the same sort of enthusiasm or corporate sponsorship as something like Pride Month, for example. But this year, I have noticed an uptick in people discussing whether or not this is necessary.
There is for sure, because the fact that I only found out this year means that a lot of people are talking about this. I didn't see this last year at all.
And there's this one video in particular that has sparked a wave of response.
Oh god, me when it's time to take a moment of silence for men's mental health. Ugh.
This TikToker filmed herself mocking the idea of taking a moment of silence for men's mental health. And in response, many men, they brought up suicide statistics to make their point. So today I want to unpack this. Why?
I find it so weird to see how these people are so fine with showing like who they really are to the whole world by saying shit like this. Like, I have no empathy for men, and I'm like, what? Are you not ashamed? I mean, they're not ashamed. They seem like very proud of it, but it's so disgusting. Like, how
are men's emotional struggles often treated like a punchline? Also, why are so many reactions to this conversation on both sides so extreme? Let's begin with the original video, and then we're going to take a look at some of the responses. So here it is, right? Me when it's time to take a moment of silence for men's mental health. And this is the response to the
point of view, all men when it's time to take a moment of silence for what? Yo girl's mental. Oh, that's that girl?
The girl that posted that.
I mean, that is deserved, right? If she's doing that, then I guess that's just a given that will happen, right? Me when it's time to be loud for men's mental health.
I don't care. Okay. I really don't give a f.
Well, that's unfortunate, because there's certainly a lot of women out there that expect all men to care about all women's issues.
Yeah, exactly. That too, that's the thing that infuriates me so much. All these women are like, mental health. Who the f cares about men? But then at the same time, they want everyone in the world, including men, to care about them. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. If you want other people to care about all your struggles, then maybe you should care about their struggles too.
But yet when it comes to matters that are actually critical to the male population, there are a lot of women out there that really should stop saying that they have empathy for others, because it's becoming perfectly obvious that they don't.
So people saying that they don't care with such pride, like apathy is something to brag about. It's not, right?
I just don't understand how they think that that's okay behavior to have. Like, why do they think that they're so right for being that way?
And then this woman stitched that video, responded calmly, pointing out how so many women expect men to care deeply about women's issues, yet feel no obligation to reciprocate.
Like, I have had fights before because of a scenario like this. When you expect someone to care about you, well, when that person tried to talk to you about the same issue that happened to them, you don't care. You don't say anything. You're not there for them. But then you expect for them to care about it when it happens to you. Like, are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy?
It's officially June. It's officially men's mental health.
Shut the f up. I don't care.
This kind of selective empathy isn't just hypocritical, it's revealing.
I don't even get it. I feel like for a lot of these women, this is probably because they have had like some trauma in the past. Just awful. I'm sorry that that happened if that is true for you. But I'm confused as in why it's all men's mental health then, right? What about the men that have never done anything to you or to anyone for that matter? Why is it their mental health too? That's insane.
Shows how conditional some people's compassion, some people's empathy really has become. I only care about you if we're on the same political team. I only care about you if we're the same gender. What is that? And to openly mock mental health awareness for half the population, it's grotesque. You know, I genuinely wonder how someone gets to that point. Do they not have a single man in their lives that they care about, that cares about them. A father,
that's what I'm saying all the time too. Like, why are you not thinking about that fact? There has to be someone in your life. If it's not a family member, there has to be someone in your life that happened to be male, that was good to you, that was kind to you, that didn't do anything bad to you or to anyone for that matter. It's their mental health too.
Grandfather, a friend, a teacher, anyone? Because let's be honest, in many of these cases, the people who proudly broadcast their hatred toward the opposite gender are almost always single. Maybe not 100% of the time, but enough that it's noticeable. Because it's a bit hard to be in a loving, healthy relationship while hating the gender of your partner. That level of bitterness,
that would be such a bad relationship,
doesn't come from empowerment, right? From happiness. It often comes from isolation. And it's no coincidence that the loudest voices mocking all men or all women are often the loneliest. Now, do I think that everyone who rolls their eyes at Men's Mental Health Month is cruel or incapable of empathy? No. I think some are just reacting from personal pain, trauma.
That's what I'm thinking too. I think like a lot of these people that are reacting so strongly to this have a trauma, like I said before, with a man, which is awful, of course. But this reaction is also awful.
Right, I get that. But mocking the entire conversation doesn't make you powerful. And
No,
it's not going to
no.
bring about any real change. Men, when grape jokes, it's dark humor. They'll say men when you joke about Men's Mental Health Month. And she does say, I don't joke about it. I just find it ironic. If your entire persona, at least online, is built on dark humor, it's just humor, right? Nothing's off limits, then you can't turn around and become emotionally fragile, a snowflake.
That is true. If you know you're sensitive to certain type of topics, then don't make fucking dark jokes because it's gonna come back to you in the end. Just don't. It's stupid.
As soon as the joke isn't flattering to your gender,
Yeah.
there has to be some consistency. Either dark humor is fair game, including jokes about men and women, or it isn't. You don't get to be emotionally detached when it's about women, but then play victim the second it's about you.
I agree with that.
What makes a dark humor joke about women's issues? Maybe it's assault. There will always be men online saying, relax. It's just a joke. Okay, dark humor, it's allowed. But the moment a woman makes a joke about men's issues, suddenly it's, you whore! You deserve to be raped, you deserve to be assaulted.
I've actually seen that. It is fucking crazy.
You know what? I think you're triggered. You're offended, and that's okay. It's only human. It happens to men, it happens to women. People get offended sometimes. But how you express that matters. If your response is violent, unhinged, purely reactionary, you don't look powerful. You look unstable. You look triggered. You reinforce the very stereotypes you claim to be fighting.
Men just kill themselves and no one cares. We need
Pain
to
is the
change it.
Her
competition.
critique is that men tend to derail the conversation by immediately bringing up male suicide rates.
Men, for some reason, whenever they hear someone say 1 out of 5 women in the US have experienced SA,
As if the pain is a competition, or, oh, but men experience this too. And I get her point because it can come off as
that is actually something that I find really annoying too. Like, that I understand. That can be so fucking annoying. Like, not with that specific topic, but sometimes like when you're like sharing your experience and someone's like, I had that too. And while you're like trying to talk about your pain, weet je? Yeah, weet je. Why am I going to Dutch? You know, what the hell? Yeah, it feels like it's like derailing the whole thing that you're trying to talk about.
reflection, like a need to center the male experience no matter the topic. But I also think a lot of men, they aren't doing that to try and erase women's pain. They bring it up because they don't feel seen in their own ever, because they're not allowed to go online.
That is a fair feeling to have too. I get that. I get both sides. I get both sides in this. Like, the men want to be included in the conversation as well because it happens to men too. But maybe it's like not the right place to say that because it comes off a little weird. As if you're trying to say like, oh, it happens to men too, so shut up. You know? I feel like sometimes it kind of feels like that's what they're trying to say. Sometimes.
And say, yeah, look, we are suffering. We have this mental health crisis, the loneliness epidemic, suicide rates, whatever. And then women laugh. And so then they start shouting over women bringing up their own struggles even when they shouldn't. One group's trauma doesn't cancel out another's.
No.
Both these issues matter. And if we're genuinely serious about fixing anything, we have to stop weaponizing these statistics just to use it in the gender war. Like we're in kindergarten again. Men are evil.
Yeah, like, who the cares about these fucking numbers? Both numbers are too much. Doesn't matter who has more. Like, what?
All women are evil. Girls are better. No, boys are better. And then we get videos like this. I'm so proud of hating men, as if that's some sort of badge of honor. As if hating half the population makes
How it feels to be the first misandrist in my bloodline. Why the fuck are you so proud of this?
you edgy or intelligent. It doesn't.
No, it
Okay,
really
it doesn't. It makes you look emotionally stunted. There's nothing empowering about dehumanizing an entire gender.
I'm gonna be like really honest, but I also feel like women that are like this, right? They're like, oh, I hate men, or are like really proud of this stuff that they're saying, right? Those are also women that I would never want to be friends with, because I feel like if you're talking like that to men or about men, like the lack of empathy there, right? Who says that you will not have that lack of empathy for me too? Because you need to be lacking a lot of empathy, in my opinion, to be able to say that shit.
Men's mental health, I don't give a I'm tired of hearing all this men suffer in silence. They don't. They don't. Women suffer in silence. Men suffer in violence.
Definitely do not suffer in silence. We definitely do not suffer in silence. I mean, of course, some women, right? Of course, some women suffer in silence. What I'm trying to say is like a lot of the stuff that women are struggling with is being talked about.
He gonna let a woman know. He's gonna make sure she hears it. Go to therapy. Shut the up.
I'm very confused, but isn't that also happening the other way?
Well, this is obviously coming from someone who has many bad experiences probably and has seen men react
that's like true for her, not true for everyone.
ways. Keep in mind, raising awareness and encouraging men to get help instead of hurting themselves or someone else doing something illegal, that's a good message. That's gonna help both men and women. So I don't know how you could be against that, really. A lot of men do suffer in silence and then unalive themselves, but for the men that don't, and for the men who think it's okay to hurt someone else because they're struggling, there should be awareness about how, no, actually, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And also recognition of one group's suffering is not a threat to your own. If you truly care about mental health, you should want both conversations to be taken seriously.
Exactly. If you want your suffering to be taken seriously, then you should be taking other people's suffering seriously too, because how can they take you serious if you're not taking them seriously?
Because the well-being of women and the well-being of men, they are deeply interconnected.
You talk to each other. You're connected to each other.
They are deeply interconnected. When one group is suffering, it's going to inevitably affect the other.
Exactly.
But instead of acknowledging that, right? People online regress to this playground logic. All women are evil. All men are evil. It's immature. Your bad experience with one person or two people or whatever, your dating history, a lot of people bring that up. None of that justifies generalizing an entire gender. Hello? Everyone is different.
For some reason, our society loves to paint this image that it's men versus women and that all men are bad and that women are this, that, and the other. And it's like, And at a certain point, we literally just have to sit back and look at these absolute unemployed incels who take what's supposed to be an awareness month and then do like this.
The truth is that people in general are struggling right now, especially with social media, tech-driven isolation. That has created a generation that's overstimulated, that's disconnected, and while both men and
I have like deleted my TikTok, my Instagram, my Twitter so many times now because I just need to take a break from my mental health. I truly do hate this time that we're living in right now.
Women are affected, men often experience that differently. They tend to have weaker social support systems, and there is still a strong stigma around vulnerability, especially in male friend groups. As a result of that, many men end up suffering in silence until frustration spills out, often anonymously online, often in comments under a woman criticizing something like Men's Mental Health Month, right? So reaching out correctly, that isn't weak. You don't have to go to therapy. I know that's not everybody's thing, but talk to somebody, a parent, a friend, but someone, because bottling it up until it turns into resentment doesn't make you strong. It guarantees more pain down the line. Women, on the other hand, are socially encouraged to talk about their emotions. It's normalized. You want to vent to your friends, that's fine. You share the same weight, and that helps. That kind of support system genuinely reduces emotional pressure, okay? So it's something I believe that men need more of, not in a forced
I do believe that men need to have more of that too, yeah.
But in a real, organic way that looks different for men. Our challenges often look different. Men still face enormous pressure to provide, to never show weakness, right? Especially if you're more of like a traditional guy. So a job loss or a health issue doesn't just hit their finances, it can devastate their entire identity if they have been conditioned to equate self-worth, with productivity, they'll spiral when that's compromised, right? But women often will experience higher rates of assault, for example, and face different, biological challenges that affect mental health. So we're talking about something like PMS or
PMDD I hate PMS.
In extreme cases, how pregnancy can affect that, or postpartum depression. These differences matter. We're biologically different. So the mental health discourse should reflect that. And then some woman says Men's Mental Health Month does matter. Pick me. I don't know,
I hate it so much. Why are you a pick me for caring about everyone? Why is it a pick me to not have your opinion, Ava?
Pick me here. A woman who views men as human beings recognizes, I love my dad. I love my brother. I love my boyfriend.
I see it under the comments of YouTubers too that talk about men's issues, but then at the same time are not talking down on women or anything like that. And then you still see them say pick me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you a pick me for having empathy, for caring about another human being?
I love my friend. I love my cousin. There are so many men in my life that I love and that love me. And
oh, you love your dad, huh? You're a pick me. You love all the males in your family? You're a pick me. How dare you love your loving father that was always there for you, you pick me. Oh God.
Recognize that they are human beings and that their mental health matters. Or the woman who says, actually, I can't get a date, so I hate all men. Because I'm struggling to find a boyfriend, we should kill all men. Who's a pick me? I don't really understand.
I don't understand it either, man. They're just saying shit.
And there's the exact same male equivalent. That's talked about more, but both exist. With the male side, it's I can't get a girlfriend. No girl will date me. So they're all whores. Why would someone want to date someone like that? Oh yeah, that's a great partner for me because they hate my gender. Think about it. For example, make the rates higher.
Oh my God. That is so fucked up. Why does it have so many likes? If they don't care about women's, I'm not caring for theirs. Simple as that. These people make no sense, man. They make no sense. How many men do you know that don't care about women's mental health? Do you know all men? Do you know all men individually on this earth? Do you know them all? Did you ask them all if they care? Huh?
Male loneliness epidemic, but if you don't have an unreal body and a beautiful face without makeup, they don't want, this is exactly what I was just talking about, right?
I can change this up right now. Female loneliness. But if you're not over 6 foot tall and you make over 6 figures in a year, they don't want you. Do you hear how stupid you sound?
Not everything is about you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't find a date. Let's put dating aside for a second.
I'm gonna go crazy, Chad. I'm gonna go crazy.
You don't see them as human beings. You don't have anyone of the opposite gender who you care about. Really. Do you ever go out in the real world? Do you ever interact with human beings? Maybe this is coming from people who really need to put the phone down. I genuinely don't care about men. Burn and torture every man who thinks they deserve an awareness month. Are you guys okay? Women's Mental Health Month, yeah. No, we should have one because you guys need to be aware of how
They actually do need it. I don't think they are aware.
mentally ill you are. This is not okay.
It's not. You're so not okay if you post shit like this on the internet and actually mean it.
Women only get a week, but men get a month. But yes, I should care. Girl, advocate for a Women's Mental Health Month. Okay, but why not?
Yeah, I think it's fine for you to think that there should be a Women's Mental Health Awareness Month as well. But why does that mean just because there is none yet that we have to not give awareness to the men's one? Because how do you expect to get a Women's Mental Health Awareness Month if you cannot even respect the men's one? If you cannot have empathy for the men's one? What the hell? My brain is having such a hard time watching this video, man. I feel like this shit should be so easy to understand, but for some reason it's not for people, and it makes me so upset.
Why not also have a Men's Mental Health Month? It's pick me to be a decent human being, to not want to burn and torture every man.
That's why I don't take anyone seriously that says pick me.
All men should be raped and killed brutally. All of them.
I'm confused why she's saying this under his post though, because he says health awareness, but nobody pays attention to it. Most men only care about Mental Health Month to downplay Pride Month. Women suffer mental health issues just as much as men do. This was not something needed to be genderized. So this guy is on the side of the women that do not like that Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is a thing. And then she says, all men should be and brutally, all of them. What?
Okay, but this one, let's keep in mind, there are definitely going to be people doing this just as rage bait. And I think I found one. You're loved, vegan, Indian, trans, Jewish, neurodivergent, disabled.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Posting this.
A leão
10, 9, 8.
Me seeing men and then men is censored. Have a month when Indian Jews get nothing and suffer more.
Huh?
I think it's rage bait. I'm gonna take a wild guess and they fall for it. I hope you get f***ing raped to death and your family dies, you fat bitch. See, okay. Women are taught to process things out loud with each other, while men are often taught to suppress, to distract.
That is true, because I grew up in a household full of guys. I used to live only with my dad. And my brothers, so I have actually seen this happening. Then my dad tells my brothers, like, don't cry, boys don't cry. Why are you upset about it? You're a boy, you're gonna be a man. You know, shit like that. And then with me, it would be like a lot less that. It would be okay for me to cry, it would be okay for me to talk about certain stuff, and it wouldn't be for them, which is stupid.
Redirect. Not because they don't feel anything, not because men don't have emotions, but because vulnerability has never been modeled to them as strength, right? It's framed as weakness. So it's not that men don't struggle, it's that they're taught to struggle in silence. Does that mean, okay, so now let's cry about everything? Men, women, we have a minor inconvenience and we have to get a diagnosis. No. That's not what that means. That's not mental health awareness. Some people take it too far. Some people think, okay, so let me just be an emotional mess. Let me be unstable. That's going to help me. No, it's not. Sometimes you have to learn how to control yourself. In fact, that's the whole point of raising awareness, to bring a bit more stability into your life, to learn how to control your emotions, yes. But when you're really struggling, when something serious happens to you, a big change.
I'm also confused, like, why are you actually mad about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Now that I'm thinking about it more, a lot of these women probably have a trauma that they got from a male. Like, a lot of them that are like feeling really strongly about this. But then, in my opinion, shouldn't you be like really happy that there is a Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? Shouldn't you be happy that they're trying to get more awareness for this? Because, right? Because with this, we're trying to make people realize more, like, hey, if you're struggling, if you need help, go talk to someone. Go, do something, try to get some help somewhere, because doesn't that also make it better for you and your experiences with men? If they actually are aware of their mental health and are actively trying to work on it? That's just what I'm thinking.
Changing your life, it's okay to reach out. It's okay to talk to someone you trust. If you don't have someone like that, yes, therapy. If you don't want to do that, I mean, there's so many things you can do. You can journal, you can work on your physical health because that does affect your mental health and vice versa. If you're religious, you can pray, you can go to church, you can talk to that community. I mean, there are so many things you can do and it depends on the person and what works for them. I just don't want some people to hear this and this whole conversation, surrounding mental health awareness and think, okay, yeah, what this is all about is me and all of these different, labels I can give myself. No, actually. So they're taught to struggle in silence, saying, oh, I'm not okay, something like that. Talking to your friends, that's like a betrayal to that masculinity. And there's a culture that rewards stoicism, but then mocks opening up when you really need to, right? Emotional strength is not pretending that everything is fine all the time. It's having the self-awareness to recognize when you're not okay, right? And then doing something about it. Getting off social media for a while, right? Setting boundaries with yourself and with others. Also, I think it starts with reminding men it's okay to feel something other than rage or nothing at all. It's okay. There are a lot of different emotions you're allowed to feel. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. That's the thing, though. It's expected, I'll say, for the women to get upset and then they cry. And it's so sad. Oh, no. Okay. And then for the men, though, what you'll see, it's like maybe because they don't feel like they can cry, they can't express their emotions that way, that they just get angry. So that actually presents itself with this trend and how triggered men react to it. It's not, I'm very upset. I mean, some men, they're like crying and they're talking about people they've lost and that we should have this mental health awareness month. Makes sense to have that kind of reaction. But a lot of men, all women should die because of this woman, what she posted. It's like there's an issue with expressing your emotions.
He says it's Men Mental Health Month, but he comments mid, 1 wipe, and it's over. 3 out of 10, California, 6, pass. Chopped. Oh.
And I'm not saying women don't do this. You'll see, with this trend too, actually. A lot of
women do it and a lot of men do it. Both sides are horrible with this, man. Both sides.
On the same way. So there's an issue, especially when we see that it's going from 0 to 100, instead of taking a step back and saying, okay, what about this triggered me so much? What's something that I can type out or, maybe I could make a video, talk about it, that would actually be productive, right? And add some value to this conversation instead of some of the comments that we see, some of the videos that we see as well with this trend. Another major factor, by the way, is technology and how that is replacing real connection, especially for men though, because things like pornography, we'll say, gaming, social media addiction, these things, they provide quick dopamine spikes that mimic intimacy or achievement without requiring any real emotional investment, right? And for a lot of men, especially younger ones, that kind of digital escape becomes their only outlet. So why would they risk the possibility of rejection or vulnerability when you can be safe right behind a screen? Now, this is a trap both men and women fall into, but for men, it's often more dangerous. Why? Because men are more visually wired, we'll say, so things like pornography, especially in the extreme unlimited forms available online today, they pull men into addiction. It creates warped expectations. It is a massive contributing factor to the male loneliness epidemic, to the female loneliness epidemic, to the rising depression rates. But when your main source of intimacy is something you can click, skip, control, real relationships start to feel inconvenient. They start to feel confusing or not worth the effort. And we have OF and we have AI.
Yeah, I guess
doing
because
OF.
it's like so much easier to just go on the internet instead of actually, you know, try and go connect with someone. Try and go connect with someone is scary.
For whatever else. I mean, it's no wonder why so many people are suffering in silence. We encourage people to stop consuming garbage, whether it be your actual diet or your social media feed or your late night distractions. That affects people more than they realize, right? You need to take care of yourself. You need to build
Take care of
discipline.
yourself.
Now, what you should be telling women and men is that when there's something serious going on, something that is affecting their well-being, their relationships, their sense of identity, it is not weak to seek help. It is calculated, in fact. It is intelligent.
Yep.
You don't have to become emotionally dramatic to be emotionally aware. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for those who care about you. Do it for those you care about. And at the end of the day, it should not be a controversial message to say that men's mental health matters or that women's mental health matters. It doesn't make you a pick-me girl or a pick-me boy for saying, yeah, it's not good when we have high suicide rates.
It's crazy that you can be called a pygmy for just caring about humans. This is so fucked up.
We're demonizing an entire gender because you may have had bad experiences. Acknowledging that men's mental health matters does not diminish women's mental health or invalidate their struggles, okay? It is not.
I feel like it helps us, right? If we're going to give more awareness to men's mental health, it means like less bad experiences for us too. Like, it's only making it worse.
It's a call for balance, for honesty and growth on both sides.
Mental health is not a joke. Over 500,000 men unalive themselves each and every year.
You do not need to suffer in silence to prove that you're strong or a real man. Real strength is knowing when to step up, when to speak up, right? And how to do it, because there's a right time and place and a wrong time and place. Trauma dumping to strangers online or in the real world is not the right time or
that's not
place.
the right time.
Go
No,
to someone
no,
you know
no.
and trust, or a therapist, or journal, or reflect, improve your physical health like we talked about. There are so many different ways to improve your mental health, but it is not weak. And if your first instinct when you hear men's mental health or women's mental health is to roll your eyes, maybe pause and ask yourself why. Is it discomfort with the idea that both men and women deserve compassion, that it's not right to generalize and demonize an entire gender? And that's all. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, and thank you. Great video. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please don't forget to give a like to the video and subscribe to my channel. I also stream live on Twitch and on YouTube, so follow me on Twitch or just turn on the notification bell on YouTube to know when I go live. I hope to see you there. Bye.